Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another film review. Tonight we're looking at a 90s horror film released by Arrow Video recently called Mute Witness. Now this is the first sort of press edition. It comes with a slipcase. It comes with a Blu-ray disc, reversible cover. It comes with a booklet. Not a sort of thick booklet, but more of a pamphlet, and it comes with a double-sided poster. There's your original artwork, and then there's the new commissioned artwork from Arrow. So just give you a bit of information about the film. We'll go into a tiny little synopsis of the film. Let me pop all that away. Right. Okay. So I wrote a bit of info down in my trusty book. Right. Mute Witness. It's a American-Russian film made in 1995. Certification is 18. Runs for 1 hour 32 minutes. Directed and written by Anthony Waller. Starring Marina Zadina, Faye Ripley. Cinematography is by Egan Worden, and music is by Wilbert Hirsch. So this came out in 1995, and I remember seeing it back then. Well, maybe a year or so afterwards on DVD. And this was based on a girl who's sort of like sort of mute. Yeah, she's not deaf and she's not blind, but she's mute. She can't talk or anything like that. So she relies on sort of like noises and sort of like sign language. And she works as a special effects artist in movies, and they're working on this horror film in Russia, this American film crew. I was thinking, why? But they're making this sort of low budget horror film, and the film sort of starts off where we see, because it plays at the beginning like it's the beginning of the sort of film, and you see this woman being sort of stalked in her house. And it's quite cool actually the way it's sort of set up, because you see her being stalked in this house, and we see the sort of killer when she opens a mirror in the bathroom, because the killer's in sort of first person mode first of all, and then when she opens a mirror we see a reflection in the mirror, and it's really quite creepy. And she sort of goes around her flat, and then she finds a dead body in the flat. And then she gets stalked by this killer, who then catches up with her and starts stabbing her. And then she does the most sort of prolonged death scene ever. And all the film crew that are sort of watching it are sort of giggling and laughing about it. Try and see if I can figure out some of the character names. I'm really terrible at remembering names. Yeah, Billy, that's it. Billy, who's our main character, who's the sort of mute girl. She's also giggling at it all with her friend. And then the director gets a bit cross at the girl because she pretty much smashes up the whole set, doing this incredible dying scene, ripping down curtains, pulling down a bookcase and ruining the table and all this sort of thing. And he wants to reset it and start again, but they've run out of time for the day. So he says, okay, well, let's just do the special effects part of the body on the floor. So the girl sort of starts preparing it all in her sort of case. She's got all of her sort of makeup and stuff for special effects, and she starts to set it all up, and all the lights go out in the studio, and the guy say, no, that's the end of the day, you've got to cut it off now because we've run out of time. So obviously the director, who's these young lads, a bit frustrated, and they all sort of leave the place. They go out to the car, and he invites Billy and her friend round to his for a dinner. He's going to cook a dinner. As they're going to the cars, Billy remembers she's left a mask inside she needs to go and collect. So she goes back in to the studio place, which is like this worn down sort of, I don't know what it is, but it's got long corridors. It almost like it could be an old hospital that they're using for like this studio. And she goes back in. Now, jumping back to earlier on before we get to this bit, we meet other characters in the studio. There's some Russian filmmakers, a Russian lighting guy, and this Russian guy that seems to have taken a shine to Billy. And sort of like that. That's just the premise of the story. It's going to move on. We meet those characters. Yeah. So anyway, Billy goes back inside to retrieve this mask, and the other two go off and leave her. As she's getting the mask, she looks out the window and she's the caretaker locking up the site, the building. She tries to make a noise for him to hear because she can't shout or anything because she's mute. She tries to make a noise by bashing the window, but he doesn't hear her and he locks up, and she seems to be locked in there. So she tries to try and find a way out, and she hears this noise going on back down in the studio. So she goes down and she sees these Russian guys, the ones that are in the filmmaking crew, and they seem to be around the studio. So she goes over sort of quietly, and she sees them making this sort of scene for a film, and it's like you got one guy on the bed with a mask on, sort of raping this girl, and he's actually raping her. And first of all, Billy thinks it's all just a film sort of thing, and because the other guy's filming it on camera, and then she walks around the other side to get a better angle, and she sees the girl's face in sheer terror, and then the guy that's raping her draws out a knife and starts stabbing her, and stabbing, blood everywhere. Really quite gory scene. And she realises this isn't pretend, it's real. And these two Russian guys are actually making a snuff movie for this underground sort of company run by like the sort of boss that sort of wants all these sort of underground sort of films and making these snuff films. And so she stumbled upon them making a snuff film. So she tried to sneak out, making a lot of noise on the way doing it. And she knocks over this stand with a coat on the bag, the woman's bag, and inside there's some sort of floppy disk that disappears underneath a wardrobe. When she knocks the bag over, she picks all the stuff up apart from that. And then the guys sort of think there's someone watching here, so they start chasing or following through the building, and we then get like about 10-15 minutes of a cat and mouse game where she's sort of like hiding in different places and so close to being seen and caught by these guys. And so it's sort of like throughout the whole building, through these long corridors, she hides behind doors, and she just manages to get to one door as the guy walks out the other, that sort of thing. And this chase goes on for a little while. And eventually they sort of see her and sort of start chasing her around, and she falls out of the emergency exit onto the outside onto these cans. But her friends have turned up because they've been trying to get hold of her because she hasn't turned up to the meal. She managed to phone them on the phone, and the other girl, she talks to the girl on the phone by doing sort of taps on the phone, sort of Morse code. And the girl's struggling to find out what's going on, so they decide to go to the studio to see what's going on. And they stumble across her laying on this old film sort of skip outside, which she's fallen onto from falling from the emergency exit, being chased by these guys. And she then sort of sign language as the girl has been a murder. And that's all I'm going to tell you, apart from the police turn up and investigating. These Russian guys sort of try and show it's all fake sort of thing. They're filming a scene and all this sort of thing. And then the story progresses down a different route from then. And it goes into like the black market of like snuff movies and all this sort of thing. It's really, really cool. Really, really great. And that's what I think about the film. It's incredible. It's an amazing non-stop roller coaster ride. It's edge of the seat horror. and it's absolutely fantastic. Really, really cool. There's the acting is absolutely, it's stellar. It's really, really spot on, and it's quite a believable story. And it's got lots of sort of black comedy moments in the film. There's one scene, the moment when the killers turn up at her flat, and are sort of like trying to catch her and chase her down in the flat, and she's locking herself up and she's making lots of noise, and you've got a guy above in with the broom saying stop making all this sort of noise, and she's banging down below, I need help. And there's sort of a lot of black humour sort of going on in the film, and there's quite some comical moments in the film which brings a little chuckle to you, which is, I think, quite good in quite a depressing film and story. But the actual premise is absolutely amazing. It's sort of this girl that can't say anything, but she's seen everything and heard everything, but she can't say anything. It's such cool, and we meet characters throughout the whole film that are absolutely wonderful. Even right up to the last sort of 15 minutes of the film, we meet new characters, and it's really, really cool. And the story sort of unfolds to a bigger plot than what it turns out to be, and it's really, really cool. There's some great scenes in it. There's not too much gore. There is some gore scenes in there, but not too much. But it's really, really well filmed, and it's really non-stop roller coaster ride. It doesn't let up. The only negative of the film is probably no, I won't say the ending, because I actually quite like the ending, but I just think, oh, that could have played out a different way. But that's not really a negative. But yeah, the ending wasn't what I would have liked the ending to have been, but that's also great, because no film should be anything that you want it to be. And it's really, really cool. I'm going to score this film an essential watch and give it a 10 out of 10. It was that good. It was such a good film. Really, really cool. It grips you from the beginning. Great storyline, great cast, really well acted out, well shot, brilliant photography, great action scenes, not too much of a jibber jabber scenes. It was more going on and on and on and on. It was really well fast paced, but a good pace. And it was really an sort of credible story. Really, really enjoyable. Mute Witness, 10 out of 10. Any of you guys seen it? If you have, let me know down below what you think of it. I mean, it is from 1995, so it does have that sort of 90s look to it, which is amazing. I think the 90s was a great era for horror. The 90s and the early 2000s were a fantastic era for horror films. And this one is no exception. It's a really cool film. I remember seeing it back in the day, but I wasn't as impressed as I was now. I think it's sort of aged, but it's aged well, like a fine wine, if you like. And it's almost the fruits of that wine is sort of like all surfaced now, and you can actually see, wow, that was really cool. What a great story. And it's really strange to see a horror film that was so quite fast-paced and sort of moving along quick, the story. But it was really, really good, and it was really gripping. Because I thought, oh, because when they found out she was in the studio, the two killers, I thought, is this rest of the film going to play out of them pursuing her through different rooms of this studio place? But no, it didn't. That was only 15-20 minutes of the film, and then it progressed to a different direction, which was, wow, I didn't see that bit sort of coming. That, oh, because you're wanting her to escape, you're wanting her to get help, because you think this poor girl can't communicate. And I thought, please don't drag this out for an hour and 15 minutes, and it didn't. So that was cool, really great, loved the film. Guys, till my next video, please check out some horror channels. Check out Horror Hands, The Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Designs, Pizzawell. I am Icelord, Cat Watches Horror Movies, Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another. Oh, massive shout out to the lad as well. Look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.